r/AskReddit. Millionaires of Reddit. How did you become so wealthy? In my 20s, I was a computer programmer just as the web started exploding in popularity. I could wire up websites and databases back when internet technologies were new, and tooling was still primitive. I never hit it big with a viral website like Facebook or Amazon, but I did charge a lot for programming services. And I used that money to buy houses at first, and ultimately an apartment building in coastal California. In my 40s now, I don't feel very wealthy really. Oddly, I still check prices when shopping, and I plan to drive my old Jeep until it dies. When I travel, I often pay to fly first class, and I do enjoy the nicer hotels. But, other than that, I live and spend rather simply. Always saved up a lot of money, 40% of my pay, and continually put it into stocks. Investment returns have outdone my savings for quite a while. Well, last year my fiance's grandparents won a stupid amount of money in the lotto, double-digit millions. They were generous enough to share with the family. I grew up below the poverty line, so my life is nuts RN. Edit. I'm a girl, for one. 2. I am in fact choosing to do stuff with my life, as I'm not an idle person mooching off of a very lucky break. His money is placed in a trust and we have many financial advisors, and we are not cleared to buy anything without approval, and what we don't use is invested by the bank who runs the trust. I don't really care for advice since I'm just reaping the rewards. So far, we bought my fiance's childhood home his father built, which is in one of the most sought after neighborhoods in my city, and we're loving the security we have as homeowners. We took an amazing trip in June, where he proposed right on the banks of the River Ness in Inverness, Scotland. It was pretty magical guys, and no, my ring is not exorbitant. Having the money hasn't changed us as a couple, as we spent a year and a half living in a bachelor suite the size of a one-car garage and still love each other. So, at this point it's a done deal. We're together for good, and are getting married next. Also, I signed a cohabitation agreement, but we agreed that I am not signing a prenup, and my name will be added to the title of the house after marriage, and the cohabitation agreement nullifies, making everything but the trust mine. So if in the highly unlikely case of divorce, I can go after him for half of everything but the trust, as it is owned by his grandparents, but he is beneficiary. Pretty nutty stuff, and I'm genuinely surprised they didn't force me into a prenup. Woman with light skin tone shrugging. I enlisted in the army when I was 18. I liked it. I asked to become an officer, and they let me. The army sent me to college and I graduated. My officer pay was way higher, and in the army you don't have very many bills. I found I could save in between 1k and 5k every month of my life. After my second deployment I was sitting on about 200k. I hired a financial manager. He did well a few years. I've bought and rented out a couple houses. I've got 17 years in the army, creeping closer to a portfolio worth $2 million and a good pension in retirement. I'm about to make lieutenant colonel. I'm in my late 30s. Just grind and save. Edit. Gold thanks. I should add that this job really sucks and I hate it a lot of the time, but due to the peaks and valleys of monetary motivation I have to do it for a few more years. I live in Eastern Europe. In 1990 I took out a huge loan and bought 10 apartments and furnished them. I rent them out to people, and with the money I earn from them I pay off the loan payments. I do this every 10 years. I have now 30 apartments and one employee who I pay to maintain them and make sure payments and maintenance is handled. The key is finding good tenants and maintaining a good relationship with them. It is not that hard, but a key to this strategy. I used to run an apple cart in NYC, would buy an apple for 5C and sell it for 10C. Did this for 20 years. Then my wife's father died and left us a chain of hotels. I sell overpriced consultancy time to CTOs who don't know any better. I am on track of being a millionaire by just investing in my 401k. I started my career at 20 years old right after graduating from college and started investing the minimum to my 401k. Never really thought much of it until I did those calculators and realized that since I started so young, the compound interest on any investment account with a decent return would be huge. Please send me £1. When 1 million people have sent their pound I will be able to answer this question. I actually hit big at a casino a while back. Not enough where I can afford to quit my job and buy a mansion, but I'm comfy and so will my son be. Compounding interest is a hell of a drug. Save, save, save. Stuff that savings into Vanguard S&P 500 index fund. Forget about that money. It doesn't exist until you're ready to retire. Warren Buffett gave us the keys to the castle. Be right back buying a lotto ticket for Thursday. Will let you fellas ladies know how I go. Think I spotted at Aussie. Through hard work and perseverance I established a reputation for honesty and competence. I was slowly promoted to increasing positions of responsibility and remuneration. I saved prodigiously and invested wisely. I married well to someone with similar values. Being frugal, not buying new cars, not caring about what others think, saving and investing and doing it again, not making knee-jerk investments, letting them ride long-term and not freaking out at every market correction. For me it was a slow game, but fun to watch it take off. Through hard work and perseverance I established a reputation for honesty and competence. I was slowly promoted to increasing positions of responsibility and remuneration. I saved prodigiously and invested wisely. I married well to someone with similar values. Being frugal, not buying new cars, not caring about what others think, saving and investing and doing it again, not making knee-jerk investments, letting them ride long-term and not freaking out at every market correction. For me it was a slow game, but fun to watch it take off. Not me but my family. My dad was piss poor as a kid because he was one of 5 kids to a single mother since my grandpa died when dad was like 11 or 12. Moved out at 17 after getting his HSC, or CSATs. Went to work. Worked a lot. My dad's really smart so he was good at what he did. Mum and dad weren't meant to be able to have kids, but when both of them were 40 they conceived me. Dad had just started his own business in the tech industry, but he believed in himself and the 2 mates he started the company with and it boomed. Mum hasn't worked since I was born because she was taking care of me. When I went to school she started doing a lot of charity work. She fell pregnant again with my little brother but he was stillborn when I was 3 years old so I stayed an only child. This year both my parents turned 60 and my dad retired cause his businesses, and was, doing so well. We live in a nice house but most of our money goes to charity anyway, since dad knows how it feels to have no money. What doesn't go to charity goes to family. I remember one year at Christmas dad gave his mum, my nana, and all 4 of his siblings $10,000 each, aka $50,000. I never asked for money. I got a job legally as soon as I could, 14 and 9 months, and I've worked ever since while attending school. I think my dad gave me good work ethics. They never spoiled me even though they could have. I'm 21 now. I still live at home, uni, and just started my first full-time job, but I plan to move out when I find a place I can take my dog with me. So technically my mum and dad are millionaires. I'm not. It's not my money, and when mum and dad pass I'll probably divide it up among the family charity. Going to a private high school taught me money doesn't buy you happiness, so I don't have any interest in keeping more than enough to be comfortable. I wouldn't have even thought about inheritance but I was forced to cause my dad had 2 heart attacks this year and his dad's dad both died of heart attacks in their 30s. Not that anyone cares, but he's doing way better now. A few stents in and a lot of rehabilitation and he's almost back to normal. Edit. I know I said I wasn't spoiled but they did give me a car when I got my full license. Well, they didn't get me a new car. They bought a new one for themselves and said I could drive the old one and take it with me when I move out. So basically I was an 18-year-old driving a 3-year-old mid-range Lexus. I'm now a 21-year-old driving a 6-year-old mid-range Lexus. Most of my friends come from pretty poor areas so I do get some looks when I'm in their neighborhoods. Or gum. Twice now someone has stuck gum on the inside of my door handles. What a hard life I led. Not there yet but getting there. STEM degree for both wife and I. I bag my lunch and drink from water fountain. I eat out with coworkers maybe once a month. Fill up my trusty clean canteen bottle daily with the free ice from cafeteria and water from the water fountain. In my lower 30s right now. Have a $500 K house. Bought 2 years ago. About 40% paid off. Hope to pay it off completely well before I turn 40. Currently about $350 K in bank between liquid and stocks. Currently driving a 9-year-old Scion. Wife has a 13-year-old Camry. Daughter's toys are from the thrift store. Haven't had cable TV ever. Love Costco and Walmart. Love looking at deal sites. That doesn't mean we do not enjoy life. We've been backpacking in Europe. Have visited Dubai, Bahamas, Bermuda, Puerto Rico, Vegas numerous times. Canada numerous times. Going to Cali in less than a month. My philosophy is this: you get rich by acting poor in things that really don't please your heart. We like traveling, so we do that. I like photography, so I have a DSLR. Wife likes nail polish, so she has like a big box full of them. I don't care much about food, so I bag it and we rarely eat out. Same with our cars. Live simply, invest and spend wisely, love unconditionally. Is millionaire defined by assets? Because I just qualify based on the value of my property, but I'm shit poor in terms of cash flow. I have always been very frugal and save significantly more than anyone else I know. Bought a property at the age of 23 which appreciated in value by a significant amount. However, I am just barely paying off the loan, so I'm poor as fuck. Be willing to move anywhere for your job. Most big companies are looking for competent people who can go where they need them. Be that person and the money follows effortlessly. Got a degree in finance. Became a financial advisor. Worked my butt off. Edit. I should also add, being frugal with money. If you are under the age of 35 and are gainfully employed, it is entirely possible to become a millionaire at some point in life. Take 10% or more of your pay. Put it in your 401k and invest in S&P 500 ETF. Don't carry bad debt, and keep 3-6 months of expenses as an emergency fund. Lastly, think of spending money in terms of hours worked. If something costs $10, think about how long it would take you to get out of and stay out of debt. Live within your means and spend save. Give your money on purpose. Make and stick to a budget planned ahead of time. Save for retirement from your very first job. Work every job with excellence and look for ways to go above and beyond to serve others, and you'll be rewarded with rises and more opportunities to do so with more responsibility. If you are in your 20s, you might want to look up the term compound interest. In your 20s it is possible to put money away for some time, stop funding and retire a millionaire. The most difficult part of the entire thing is pretending like the money doesn't exist when times get tough. Started buying multifamily real estate in central Chicago in 2011. Have been selling since last year. At one point I had 15 buildings with 65 apartments in them. The few buildings I have left are worth about $2 million and I have over $1/3 in cash in my savings. Prices were so ridiculous in the recession that I was able to turn $5,000 in savings and a lot of sweat equity into what I have now. I bought my first building with an FHA loans for $130K in Logan Square. It was 3 units and I put $5,000 down. It's now worth $400K. Then is saved up the income from that property and bought a 6 unit for $50K that's now worth $350K. I then picked up another 6 flat for free because the city was going to force the bank to demolish it. Borrowed against the equity in my other properties to do a total gut rehab of it. Now the building is worth $1.1 million and generates $10,000 cash flow every month. I live frugally as well. When my old car died I bought a 2-year-old Honda with 25,000 miles on it. I still live in the first property I bought. My hobbies are ones that are only expensive if you don't have the time to take advantage of them. I buy a ski pass and ski 4 weeks a year. The pass costs $600, but I can get thousands of dollars worth of skiing out of it since my job is mainly collecting passive income. I'm only 29, so my plan is to just slowly add to my portfolio while letting the few buildings I haven't sold off burn off principal. I'm basically semi-retired and have been for 3 years. I basically kept the same habits I had when my income was $12K a year for a family of 3. I make coffee at home. I still forage for food. I still shop at thrift shops for clothing. My car is 14 years old and I try not to use it if I can use my bicycle instead, including biking to work when I wasn't carpooling. Even when I was a single mom on $28K salary I put what I could in my 401k and every raise I got went to that till I at least got the full employer match. When I got a new job and found out there was no similar retirement plan there, I met with the directors and a financial advisor and got one in place. I make my own laundry detergent and use cloth wipes napkins. I spend about $20 a week for 2 adults for food. Yesterday I really wanted an orange but didn't take it from the fridge because I paid for those for my husband's packed lunches, and pears from the yard are free. Oranges travel better in his bicycle bag so they are for him. Pears from the yard have occasional spots that need to be cut out so they are for me because I retired last year and he has another year or 2 to go. It's easier to cut off bad spots when you are at home in your own kitchen. I am so tired of pears, though. I have $1 million but I won't eat an orange if I have a free pear. On the one hand, that's pathetic. On the other hand, that's why I have $1 million and don't have to go to work anymore.